Most people don't actually want success. They want relief.
1,000,000%, man. Like, one thing I can say from experience is a lot of people don't want the pressure. They don't want success. I don't even think I'm successful. I'm not just saying that to be Mr., relatable marketing guy. I'm saying that because your yardstick of comparison moves up. So for example, for me, literally at the start of the year, we started, clearing, comfortably over 6 figures a month. Now that it's already Feb, because we're used to a certain level of growth, I have some of my team members already saying, road to 10 million. And that's awesome because that's the next goal. But that's a lot of focus and responsibility, especially when you're hiring 2 or 3 people a week. So what people just look at is they look at the luxury car, or they look at the property, or they look at, for some it's the women, for some it's the attention. For me, I feel the responsibility. I finished work yet. I was closing a deal yesterday evening. It was a tutoring company client in Sydney. At 11:30, 11:45 p.m., sending out a contract to be signed. And to be honest, every time I sign a contract, I do a little dance, I play a bit of music. But usually, I'll also get some sort of reward, whether it's a chocolate bar or a donut. Yesterday night, guys, I was so tired. I knew I was gonna have to wake up, get my haircut done, do 3 hours with my incredible videographer. Guys, I didn't even have my little donut reward. And to you guys, that might seem like nothing. But for me, that's a signal of a lot of energy is being expended. So a lot of people, they want the results of success, but they definitely do not want the character definition and the chiseling and the mental fortitude that is the biggest predictor of success, 100%. Comfort is the most expensive addiction someone can have. I'd say it depends on the person's goal. For example, on my phone, I haven't even updated this. You won't be able to see this, but literally, if you can zoom in, it has the number of deals my company needs to close every single month for this to be a good year. So in January, it was a new additional 20 deals and clients, okay? We've already crossed that. We crossed that. We had 25 deals in Jan. And then it's Feb. Feb is 26 new deals. March it's 30. By the end of the year, we are closing a minimum of an additional 550 new clients. Now you guys do the maths on what kind of revenue that is. I'm not gonna divulge that, but again, that's on top of what we're doing, right? So why do I mention this? Comfort for me is not great because I know for me, I'll get antsy. I'll start wanting to have to do something. I'll start distracting myself with things that I know aren't necessarily beneficial for me. But it's also not a bad thing. One thing that I wouldn't wish I did, but one thing that I've changed my perspective on compared to when I was younger is when I was 18, I was like, everyone should be a millionaire. Everyone should have $1 million a year company. Everyone should do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What I've realized is very few people have the pain tolerance and risk tolerance to actually sustain the entrepreneurship game. A lot of people think it's, within 3 months I make 10K a month. Within a year I'll do whatever. For me, it's now a game of, okay, yes, I finally have a, $1 million, nearly multi-million dollar plus, or by the time this video comes out, maybe multi-million dollar plus per year run rate company. But for me, what I'm realizing is every single level of the game requires more discomfort. And I'm comfortable in discomfort. But at the start of last year, when we started growing really, really fast, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I had these little shakes. And I hate admitting this because, I like to feel like I'm in control, even though we're never really in control. That's the interesting thing about being a human, especially when you're, believing in God. But one thing I'll tell you guys is this: when it comes to your body reacting to, new levels of pressure, now I'm better with it. I don't have the shakes anymore. Guys, it's really strange. There's a term, it's called hypnic jerks. For those of you that have been through sleep apnea or have had sleep issues, you know what I'm talking about. So a hypnic jerk is when you're trying to sleep, okay? And you feel like you hear a very loud sound, like an explosion. I've never experienced this till last year. It was so scary. I remember telling someone that was in the medical field about this condition. I was like, guys, is this real? And I looked it up on Reddit, and of course Reddit had all the answers for me, all right? And what I realized was I was experiencing a hypnic jerk, and another thing, I forgot the technical term, but where you think there's an explosion, and it's not. It's like a form of psychosis that happens when you're really sleep deprived or your sleep pattern's been ruined. And a hypnic jerk is when you feel like you're falling, so your whole body wakes you up just before you fall into an actual sleep. And it's very scary. So again, I think that's actually an affect of the sleep deprivation that I went through when I was in my early 20s. Right now, I'm fortunate. I track my sleep. I have a sleep tracking app. I sleep relatively well. I could be better, but sleep relatively well. But again, when it comes to comfort, I was so uncomfortable. 21, 20, 22, 20, 19. I'm uncomfortable now, but the discomfort I experienced then was choice. The choice of experiencing discomfort, the choice of taking so much on, the choice of trying multiple things. And that now led me to experiencing, yes, a different environmental discomfort, which is to provide for 50 plus people, nearly 60 people by the time this video comes out, and still being able to, afford different things and promote for people. But Comfort in and of itself is not a bad thing for everyone, but I think at the end of the day, if you do plateau in anything in life, things do eventually die.